Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of What's the Buzz, our bi-monthly podcast where we talk to ecosystem builders and leaders that are fostering an inclusive, growing, buzzing ecosystem where they're at. And I'm thrilled today to be joined by Melina Blees from BioLabs in Philadelphia. Melina, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure. When I think of ecosystem builders, you are absolutely at the top of my list.
Oh, thank you.
And you're at the top of a lot of
I
people's
got you.
lists because you were our Community Builder of the Year award last year. So,
And absolutely honored and thrilled by it. So,
but what I love about that, Melina, is so our BioBuzz awards are people's choice. So we had, I think, something like close to 4,000 votes in Philadelphia last year. And
that's awesome.
again, that's part of it. We create the buzz and the people that are out there working to grow this industry. Definitely get some visibility and recognition. So,
Awesome. Well, thanks again.
yeah, my
And thanks
pleasure.
to everybody who voted.
Yeah, and our awards are kicking off very soon for this next year.
Yes,
So,
they
Melina,
are. I've already voted.
all right, and I hope you pass the torch and nominate someone else that
I
that
have
we
done
can-
so.
Oh, that's great. It's really what it's all about.
I voted in the national election, and I voted in the BioBuzz Award. So,
All right, there we go. So early voting for both.
yeah, exactly.
Well, great. Well, so for everybody joining, I'm Chris Fruth, founder of BioBuzz. At BioBuzz, we're an ecosystem building platform. Here we care about really two main big things. One is growing community, and the other one is helping you hire and attract top talent. I'm excited today because today we get to talk about both of those things. Today's topic of conversation is an upcoming ecosystem-wide job fair that Melina and her team and many other people are helping to put on. So excited to dive into that. But before we get there, Melina, do you mind just making an introduction and telling a little bit about people what you do?
Sure. So I am the Philadelphia head of BioLabs, which is an international organization that was started in 2009. We were founded by a MD PhD serial entrepreneur in the biotech space out of Cambridge, Johannes Fruhoff, who also founded Lab Central. And we have grown since then across the US. We landed in Philadelphia in 2018, which is when me and many of the members of my team first joined BioLabs. And we have had the great pleasure of working with a lot of really exciting companies and fantastic ecosystem partners across this ecosystem, as well as across our whole network. We're now across the entire US as well as in Europe, and we have a site coming in Japan as well. So,
Oh, that's exciting.
yeah, it is.
So when you think about BioLabs, how do you talk about what makes BioLabs different from some of the other similar platforms out there?
Yeah. So I think, it's always people 100% of the time. And I'm not saying other folks don't have great people. Of course they do, but we're really boosted by being part of a network who's been in the industry for such a long time. So, in addition to the amazing staff we have in Philadelphia, we also have, national level folks doing our procurement and our environmental health and safety and our lab operations and our connections to service providers and pharma companies and VCs. That really, I think, has been a big differentiator for us. And, for member companies who can visit other BioLab sites across the world when they travel and when they're taking a VC meeting in Boston or, Paris, they can get into a nice conference room and get some of those introductions as well. So a lot of the other things we do in this ecosystem include things like a BioLabs Investor Day every April 22nd this year, which is a, couple hundred people attend. It's usually a selection of really, really, really carefully curated companies pitching to investors from both in-market and out-of-market, as well as we do a tech transfer showcase in collaboration with BioStrategy Partners.
That's great. And BioStrategy Partners is also partnering on the job fair, right? So
yes,
is there a
major partner on this job fair
with BioStrategy?
Yeah, we're actually very good friends with them. They're a member of BioLabs now as of very recently, which we're really thrilled by. We've worked with their team for a long time and really, really love them. They're a coalition of tech transfer offices from many of the regional universities as well as the institutes and hospitals. So That group includes, and I'm hoping I'm going to get this exactly right, but Jefferson Temple, CHOP, Wistar, Penn State, PCOM, and I know I'm forgetting another one. I said Jefferson and Temple both, right? Amazing group. They have worked with us and collaborated with us for years on many different events, and run many events of their own. In the case of the Jobs Fair, they're going to be managing all of the parallel programming, which is a really fantastic series of career pathways panels, as well as mock interviews and resume reviews, and have really taken the lead on that. So
that's fantastic. One of the things I like about BioLabs is it's and talking to Johannes as well is it does come to the people, and when you talk to anybody there, you really get the feeling that you really are trying to unburden the entrepreneur, and that's the feeling I get when I've come up several times, and I feel like as an organization you really feel that you're trying to unburden the entrepreneur. And I love the things that you do, like the Investor Day and Tech Transfer Showcase, right? One of the best that I've been to in the markets we serve. And I've heard really great things from again, both a high quality investor group that you get, but also from the entrepreneurs and companies pitching. But again, it's like the Investor Day, Job Fair, right? The support services, and you have a discount vendor purchasing program that you rolled out. Mm-hmm. Like it's like, let's unburden the entrepreneur so the entrepreneur can focus on the science and focus on in their next milestone. And you can, again,
absolutely, that is a lot of work. That is a whole lot of work that they're doing, and they don't need to also be worrying about, their dry ice shipping.
Indeed. Well, that's what you all are there for. And again, I think you do a great job. So let's talk about the job fair. So can you tell, how did this all come about? And is this the first one you're doing?
This is the first one we're doing. It was something that was really just driven by, we saw it as a gap in the market, that there was a need for it. It's honestly not really our core business. It's not a direct, business builder for us. It was just, we've been really engaged with this ecosystem for a long time, as has BioStrategy Partners. And it was something we kept talking about. Gosh, it would be really great if there was a biotech specific jobs fair. So I really do want to underline the fact that BioStrategy Partners was really foundational in making this event happen from the very beginning. We also brought on 2 additional partners, which we're absolutely thrilled about, which is the Keystone Life Sci Collaborative and the Good Jobs Challenge, as our impact partners for the event. So what they're going to be doing is helping to track what is the actual outcome of this, right? Over time, what kinds of jobs are being created, what kinds of jobs are being filled because of connections made at this event. They're a phenomenal kind of umbrella organization for the ecosystem of businesses in the life sciences space who, are coming together to try to grow both business to business connections, but then also the workforce in the life sciences for the whole of Pennsylvania and especially the greater Philadelphia region. So really delighted to have them on board as a partner on this event, because it really feels like an organic fit.
That's great. Well, so you saw a need in the market, and it is, you're calling it an ecosystem-wide job fair. So like there's a lot of people, and I've been on some of the calls, so I know how many people. Yeah. Talk to us about can you talk to me about that? Like how many people it takes to have one of these go off successfully?
Yeah. I mean, I think from the very beginning, we and also BioStrategy Partners knew we didn't want this to just be a BioLabs event, right? We wanted to include everybody in the ecosystem who is interested in this topic. It's also something where, Philly, frankly, is just a very warm and welcoming and collaborative ecosystem in general. But there are people participating as event partners on this event who are technically our competitors. In practice, we all know each other. We're all friendly. They also do great work. But this is a topic where we can kind of all get together and say, let's all put our brain power behind this. Let's all put our brands behind this. Let's all put, our connections and our companies and our spaces and all of these things together. So our partners on this event, I mean, it's a very long list. You probably don't want me to read it right now. But it includes, Life Sciences PA, the Chamber of Pennsylvania, the Chamber of Philadelphia, all the universities in the region, BioBuzz, all the incubators in the region, a lot of the workforce development groups, so the Philadelphia STEM Equity Collective, the Science Center, the Skills Initiative, Life Science Cares. Like it's just a very long list, and I do apologize, I cannot name everybody right now. But you know,
they're all listed on the website, which
they're
is
all listed on the website.
yeah.
Really fantastic groups, kind of from across the whole industry, who are all contributing. You know, we have a steering committee meeting every Friday, and we're getting together and saying, hey, who's got good ideas for additional things we can add, additional groups we can bring in, companies who might be hiring who I don't necessarily know, right? Going to them kind of as a sounding board and a talent pool and all of these other things at the same time. So it's really been very much a joint effort of the whole ecosystem. It's not just BioLabs and biostrategy partners who are putting this together. It really is everybody kind of coming together and pitching in.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You know, I'll tell you just from a story wise, like we came to Philly 2 years ago and started with the media element, and it really is a welcoming community. And that was one of the first things I recognized up there is, you know, it's like friendly cooperation. You know, it's you know, like,
exactly.
So one, there's more private incubator kind of spaces in Philly than in most markets, which I think says a lot about.
Yeah, absolutely.
It says a lot about the tech transfer, and it says a lot about the pipeline. But even though there are a lot of these incubators, there's a lot of collaboration in between them all. And
absolutely.
So I really think that's fantastic, and this job fair definitely showcases that. And again, you know, we culturally, that's why I think we love Philadelphia too. Is like we're that way as well.
Yeah.
Like we lead with media because it's something everyone can get by. We can tell everybody's story, and we love telling the stories.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Again, we have our hiring platform that we're launching in March, and the same thing. Everyone needs jobs, and so like that's something we can all get behind. So we're glad to be a partner, and again, philosophically and culturally, kind of we love the Philadelphia ecosystem because I feel like it's just like it aligns with that, and I think that's why you're seeing such amazing growth, and in the region.
Fully agreed. Yeah, the science is here, right? The talent is here. It's just a matter of putting those into companies, and it's happening fast. So
that's right. It is, and there's some good success stories coming. Legend Bio's coming, and 2 more Jim Wilson's labs spun out, and there's really good momentum.
We're participating.
Yeah, so come to the job fair. So let's move into, let's continue to talk about that, because I think you and I could probably geek out about ecosystem building all day long. So first and foremost, you've got a few key sponsors who have also come in, not just the partners on the steering, but
absolutely.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about them as well? Like who's really kind of helping to support this?
Yeah, absolutely. This is not at all a moneymaker. We are trying to cover the costs of the event so we can keep doing it every year. We're renting out the whole atrium of the Curtis. It's a huge space. We're going to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in there. And it's made possible by our sponsors. So Sansar Tech is a sponsor for the event, Sol Ewing, CSS, Thermo Fisher, and we are still taking some additional event sponsors to kind of help us close the last gap. So please, if you know anybody in the industry who's interested in meeting a ton of really great senior HR folks from major life science companies, send them our way.
All right, I like that. So just let's continue to tease that out so we can share that with everybody. Sure. How many companies are participating? How many attendees are coming?
Yeah, so it continues to grow, but we really have significant momentum on this one. So we've got 32 companies participating so far. We've got space for just a couple more. So again, any companies hearing this who are interested in participating, give us a shout. A basic table is free for employers to participate. We have 2 employer highlights, companies who are going to have big booths. That's Spark Therapeutics and PharmaBlock. We are delighted by their support of the event and really excited to showcase them. And then the list of companies who are participating, I mean, it is, again, a very long list. The event website is phillybiotechjobsfair.com. We've got everything from, GSK and, as you mentioned, the Wilson Group's spinouts and Century Therapeutics. A lot of the universities are hiring for staff roles staff roles and postdocs. We've got, some non-labs roles that are available for project management and business development and things like that. Really a great breadth from tiny startups who are hiring for one or two really senior scientists up through, large manufacturing companies who are hiring for lots of intro level roles as well as more senior roles. In terms of kind of the response we've had, we have just broken the 400 candidates ceiling today, which is really exciting. And the majority of those folks have advanced degrees. By no means all, and our goal is really to sort of have a good match between the employer needs and the candidates in the room. So far, it's been almost a perfect match. So I think, there's going to be many hundreds of jobs being hired for and a really great pool of candidates who are a really good match to that as well. And then I think I already mentioned it, but I do want to really emphasize, the parallel programming is going to be an amazing component of this as well. Of all those folks who are coming there looking for jobs are also going to have opportunities to have their resume looked at by professionals and to hear from people who both have, taken different careers within the industry on the science side, but then also some non-labs roles within the industry. There are a ton of jobs that are available in HR and IT and all of these support services and team members that it takes to really run a biotech company, right? To get it from, an academic lab into a patient. That takes a whole village. I think before I joined this industry, I didn't realize quite how many people it takes to make any of the drugs you take, on a regular basis. Truly extraordinary in scale, and all of those are amazing opportunities and really good paying jobs. And jobs where you get to have a chance to do something important, right? I'm not the one in the lab. I'm here, making introductions between people and making sure that their lab coats fit them. But I feel good about putting my energy and my efforts towards an industry that I believe is ultimately saving lives. I'm sure you do too. And I think that's a really fun thing to get to talk about and to get folks engaged in as career opportunities.
That's great. I agree. I mean, I think I don't meet anybody in this industry that, especially after they've come into it new from another field, they just don't get hooked. And a big part of what hooks them is they're like, not only am I doing interesting work, but I'm, I'm making a difference. And and I think that there's very few industries out there in the world that you can say that as clearly as what the companies and the people and the workers in this industry get to experience. So you have so adjacent career paths is one of them, and I agree. Like, my old neighbor in the city was an HVAC technician, and he would be like, "Oh, you work with all these doctors and PhDs." I'm like, I work with HVAC technicians too. Like, it's clean air and everything. It's really important to producing these facilities. But people don't think about that sometimes. There's this misconception. So I love that you have an adjacent career path part of this. You also have resume reviews and mock interviews. So that's another thing you have.
Yeah, BioStrategy Partners is organizing all of that. We are still seeking, I believe they're still looking for some folks to help with the mock interviews. So again, folks are welcome to volunteer if they have background in the HR world, because I think we're going to see strong demand for those pieces as well. So.
Yeah, I agree. We actually talked to someone this morning. We have one of our community members from Baltimore driving up to volunteer at the event.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. That's great. Yeah,
absolutely. So she's great, and she's a professor at a local school down here, and has does a lot of work. So yeah, I think that's huge. It's a tough market out there, really tough. We're all coming through 2 years of low investment and very meek growth. So there's a lot of people that definitely need that support right now. And
absolutely.
And I think the other thing I'll just mention in that is, like, I think just being able to bring all these people together is just in itself like a good community. Like, it's tough going on the job market and being able to be with others and kind of get tips and help each other out. Like, don't underplay the fact
commiserate.
that commiserate and share horror stories, but like, community is so important to that. Like, and that's the other thing I think that this is going to create is continue that kind of workforce community.
Absolutely. Well, and one thing I should probably mention as well is sort of on the other side about creating community. So at the beginning of the pandemic, Integral Molecular's HR team started a HR peers network. So it's a group that gets together once a month virtually and just talks about, hey, I'm having this, question about benefits, and I have this question about whether you guys have an internal policy for why. Can you guys share? And it's not branded, it's not paid for by anybody. It's literally just a lot of HR folks from the life sciences industry creating a brain trust for each other. Amazing group. Strongly recommended to anybody who's interested. We're actually having a lunch the same day for that group to try to, again, get them together in person. So definitely recommend that for anybody in the space, but also want to plug Keystone Life Sci Collaborative. So they're working, and I'm on the working group for the peer-to-peer kind of networking groups. So as part of the business-to-business section of Keystone Life Sci Collaborative, we're looking to put together similar groups for finance, for biz dev, for marketing, for all of these different groups within the life sciences who, especially at smaller companies, are often the only one in their company who does that function. It's really great for those folks to have peers that they can talk to and bounce ideas off of and ask for resources and things like that. So that's going to be coming. Again, anybody interested, reach out. My email address is philly@biolabs.io. I'm sure it'll be in all the contact info as well. And yeah,
that's
really,
great.
Again, Philadelphia, right? Everybody wants to work together.
That's great. It is a common theme, and I can't express that enough. We are working on a couple other ecosystem launches in the next 24 months, and we're talking to some people now. And one of the things, and I brought this up actually in another podcast we did, is there's a culture of community, right?
Yeah.
So you can't just say, hey, we're going to build a community and just like have a community like pop up just because there's people there, or just because you have
you can't pay for that.
Yeah, or just because you have a BioLabs and there's a bunch of people working in a building. That's not a community. Community is created through a culture of community. So it's all the little things that you do every day, Melina, and that you support, and then you all the introductions you make and making a connection and supporting these smaller initiatives. And the fact that more people do that, like that's how you create that culture of community.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
It's one of those things, you don't read about it when you read all like what you need for a life science ecosystem success is, it's always IP and real estate and venture capital, but the culture of community is something I can't emphasize enough. And I think that Philadelphia and all the partners that you mentioned and that we work with up there, there is that being created. And I'm excited for Keystone. I'm just getting to know them a little bit. I think we're going to be at
they're awesome.
next group meeting, but it's such a great initiative and another.
It's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, again, community is a huge part of our model. It's part of why companies choose to come to an incubator, is because they want to meet, other entrepreneurs who are either going through the same thing or have been through the same thing before and can provide advice. But it's really wonderful to be part of an ecosystem where we are not having to create that culture beyond our walls as well. That culture already exists in Philadelphia. Those larger groups and different organizations already want to work together. So when I do, when somebody does come to me asking for an introduction to a core facility or a local venture firm or something like that, those people are going to say yes, right? There's less, I think, less of an uphill battle than in an ecosystem that's maybe a little bit more competitive rather than collaborative. So.
Yeah. I agree. And it's helpful. Like I said, it's unburdening the entrepreneur, like put them in that spot where they're going to be in a friendly spot to succeed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, this is exciting. So we've got 400 plus job seekers.
It's going to be cooking.
Close to 40,
33, I guess now, companies participating.
33 companies and only a few spots left, so get them while they're hot.
Only a couple spots. We are running out of tables. So despite it being a huge space, we're running out of tables. I should also mention we are going to have tables from many of our event partners. So all of the various nonprofits who are participating. Nucleate is participating with the table. It looks like the various workforce development groups and internship programs are going to have tables. So there will be a lot of opportunities in addition to the companies that are directly hiring and are there with job listings there's going to be lots of other opportunities to connect to resources and support. We just brought in a group called STEM Peers, which is designed as a peer group for scientists who are starting to move out of academia into the industry, that they could talk to people who've done it before and have made that step, right? And they're also providing some advice and support on visa issues. So I think it's really, it's really gotten momentum. A lot of people are putting their time and energy towards making this a success. And our hope is we can do this every year in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're very proud to help support you and support all the community.
We're delighted by your partnership.
And it's a great initiative. Again, community and jobs, two things that we wake up every day thinking about at BioBuzz, and it's part of what makes the ecosystem go. And on November
19th,
I was going to say November 19th, you're going to be able to come up to the Curtis and see what that really looks like in action. Thanks to a lot of work from Melina and a lot of people that have been
so many people. And I especially want to shout out BioStrategy Partners team, as well as Larissa on my team, who is our ops and events genius, who's really, making this thing happen. And the Keystone Lifestyle Collaborative and all of our partners on this event. Everybody has really put their time and their energy and their connections and their resources towards this, to make this a success. So it is free to participate. Just apply online. Philly Biotech Jobs Fair.com. That is jobs with an S. Philly Biotech Jobs Fair.com. And I'm sure it's going to be in the links that Chris sends around as well. So.
Oh yeah, we're gonna the next couple of weeks we're gonna be creating a lot of buzz around this and making sure that anybody that needs a job and that wants to connect knows where to go on November 19th. And I think that 400 is just a starting point. And, bring your earmuffs.
So many people.
It's going to be loud in there.
It's going to be loud in there.
Hopefully that's the sound of people getting job offers. And
exactly.
But I'm excited. Like, it's the end of the year. I hope that there's going to be some really good data that Keystone can capture from this, and that'll be really interesting to look at as we approach 2025. This time of year, a lot of jobs might get offers, but they don't start until January. So it'd be really interesting to see what that looks like.
Yeah, they're going to be continuing to track, and that data will be really helpful in the future, also for the state and for the city government and things like that, which I think is going to be really precious. So, as well as for employers, right? They want to know what's out there.
Absolutely. Out there, so. Yeah, indeed. Well, Melina, thank you for your time today and joining us for
thank you so much. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I will see you just in a couple of weeks in person.
Sounds good. Hope to see you all there.
All right. Thank you all again for joining today for this episode of What's the Buzz. We'll be back again very soon. Until then, have an awesome day.